The aroma of freshly brewed coffee usually filled Amelia's kitchen on Saturday mornings, a comforting blanket against the anxieties of the week. But today, the scent felt like a mocking reminder of a ritual gone sour. She stood at the counter, staring blankly at the swirling cream in her mug, the ceramic warm against her trembling fingers. Mark was still asleep upstairs, oblivious to the volcano erupting silently within her. They had been married for 7 years, a love story sculpted from shared dreams and whispered promises. They'd met in college, two awkward souls drawn together by a mutual love for old movies and rainy-day bookstores. Mark was kind, steadfast, and possessed a quiet humor that always managed to coax a smile from her. Amelia, in return, brought a fiery passion and a creative spirit that painted color into Mark's organized world. But somewhere along the line, the vibrant hues had begun to fade. The demands of their careers had erected invisible walls, the shared dreams replaced by separate schedules and increasingly strained silences. Amelia, a graphic designer, found herself working late nights to meet deadlines, while Mark, a software engineer, buried himself in code, lost in the digital world. The discovery had been accidental, the kind of cruel twist of fate that felt scripted for a tragic play. A misplaced phone, a notification left unattended, and the stark, undeniable proof shimmering on the screen, texts, laced with intimacy and affection, exchanged between Mark and Sarah, a colleague from his office. The world had tilted on its axis. The man she thought she knew, the man she had built her life with, was a stranger. The foundation of her love, once solid and unwavering, had crumbled into dust. Downstairs, Mark stirred. Amelia quickly composed herself, forcing a smile that felt brittle and foreign. She couldn't confront him. Not yet. She needed time, space, to process the avalanche of emotions threatening to bury her. "Morning, love," Mark mumbled, shuffling into the kitchen, his hair adorably disheveled. He kissed her forehead without really looking at her, reaching for a mug. "Morning," Amelia replied, her voice betraying none of the turmoil within. The day unfolded with agonizing normalcy. They went to the farmer's market, browsed through antique stores, ate lunch at their favorite cafe. Each shared smile, each casual touch, felt like a carefully orchestrated lie. Amelia found herself observing Mark, searching for clues, desperate for an explanation. Was there a flicker of guilt in his eyes, a subtle change in his demeanor? She saw nothing, only the familiar, comforting mask she had known for years. That night, lying in bed beside him, the silence was deafening. She wanted to scream, to tear down the walls of their carefully constructed facade, but fear held her captive. Fear of the truth, fear of the unknown, fear of losing the life she had so carefully built. Finally, exhaustion claimed her, but sleep offered no respite. She dreamt of fragmented images, Mark's face, Sarah's name flashing on his phone, an empty house echoing with silence. Days turned into weeks, each one a torturous exercise in pretending. Amelia became a detective, scrutinizing Mark's every move, analyzing his every word. She discovered more evidence, emails exchanged late at night, hushed phone calls taken in the hallway. The truth was undeniable, and it was slowly eating her alive. The anger began to simmer, a slow burn that threatened to erupt at any moment. She found herself lashing out at Mark over trivial things, picking fights over misplaced keys and forgotten appointments. Mark, oblivious to the real reason behind her frustration, responded with confusion and hurt. "What's wrong with you lately?" he asked one evening, his voice laced with concern. "You've been so different." Amelia wanted to scream, I know everything. How can you pretend like nothing is happening?" But she choked back the words, afraid to unleash the storm that raged within her. "Instead," she said, "I'm just stressed, Mark. Work has been crazy." He nodded, accepting her explanation without question. The ease with which he lied, the casualness of his deception, fueled Amelia's anger. She couldn't bear the thought of spending another minute trapped in this charade. One Saturday morning, the scent of coffee once again filling the air, Amelia finally confronted him. She had spent the night writing a letter, pouring out her pain, her anger, her heartbreak onto the page. She placed it on the kitchen table, its stark white surface a silent accusation. "Mark," she said, her voice trembling but firm, "we need to talk." He looked at her, his brow furrowed with concern. "What is it? Amelia, you seem so serious." She gestured towards the letter. "Read it." Mark picked it up, his eyes scanning the words. As he read, his face paled. The color drained from his complexion, leaving him looking ashen and defeated. When he finished, he looked up at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and shame. "Amelia," he stammered, I don't know what to say." "Say the truth, Mark," she demanded, her voice cracking with emotion. "Tell me why. Tell me how you could do this to us." He hesitated for a moment, then confessed everything. He spoke of loneliness, of feeling disconnected from her, of the attention he received from Sarah, which had started innocently and then spiraled out of control. He swore that he loved her, that he regretted his actions, that he wanted to fix things. Amelia listened, her heart shattering with each word. It was a story she had heard before, the classic tale of a broken marriage and a wandering heart. But hearing it from Mark, the man she had trusted with her life, was a pain unlike any she had ever experienced. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Mark," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "You broke my heart. You destroyed everything we built together." "I know," he said, his voice filled with remorse. "I know I messed up. But please, Amelia, give me a chance to make it right. I love you. I don't want to lose you." Amelia looked at him, her eyes filled with tears. She saw the genuine pain in his face, the regret in his eyes. But she also saw the devastation he had caused, the irreparable damage he had inflicted on their relationship. The decision was agonizing. Part of her wanted to forgive him, to salvage what was left of their love. But another part of her, the part that had been betrayed and wounded, couldn't bear the thought of living with the constant reminder of his infidelity. In the end, she chose herself. She chose healing. She chose peace. She chose a future free from the shadow of his betrayal. "I need time, Mark," she said. "Time to think, time to heal. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I can't stay here right now. I need to leave." Mark didn't try to stop her. He knew that he had lost her trust, and that it would take a long time to earn it back, if it was even possible. Amelia packed a suitcase, filling it with the essentials. As she closed the zipper, she looked around the house, at the life they had built together. It was filled with memories, both good and bad, but it was no longer her home. She walked out the door, leaving Mark standing in the kitchen, the letter still clutched in his hand. As she drove away, a single tear rolled down her cheek. It was the end of an era, the closing of a chapter. But it was also the beginning of a new one, a journey into the unknown, a chance to rebuild her life, to rediscover herself, and to find love again, perhaps even a love stronger and more resilient than the one she had lost. The scent of coffee lingered in the air, a ghost of a memory, a reminder of what once was and what could never be again. But as Amelia drove towards the horizon, she felt a glimmer of hope, a fragile spark of optimism igniting within her. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but she was ready to face it, armed with the lessons of the past and the promise of a brighter future. The broken heart, though still aching, was slowly beginning to mend, and Amelia knew that one day she would find her way back to love, to trust, and to happiness.